what does a CG supervisor do?
Well, on our show, on Star Wars The Clone Wars, I supervise the overall pipeline. I have a team of people that I work with to make sure that our pipeline is working smoothly, to make sure that the assets are going in and out correctly, assets like characters, and how the paint looks. But primarily my main focus on the show is the lighting and the effects. So I focus a lot on how the episode is lit, kind of like how a cinematographer will photograph a movie. The episodic directors will, aim the cameras and shoot the shot, but I will go ahead and direct how it's going to be lit, like you look here. It's the same with effects. I do the same thing. I supervise effects like you'd see in a movie, when something explodes or breaks apart or something like that. So having come from a long history at ILM. I worked at ILM for 17 years before going on to the Clone Wars, so I bring a lot of that history onto the show. It's kind of what I do. I kind of just oversee anything that is digital on the show.
Speaking of the Clone Wars, how is that like versus how the Phantom Menace is?
Well, we really try not to be different. Really, it's kind of important that we respect what already exists. And a lot of everything, like Dave Filoni and I will be in conversations, and we'll be in conversations with everybody, but we always talk about the prequels and the original trilogy of movies, and we always reference those. Like I have a database at work that is behind the scenes and production stills and still frames from all the movies. And there are hours in the day where I go through all of them. And I always, if there's a question, how is this supposed to look? I'll find, like right now I'm trying to find this secret thing for a secret thing for a secret thing. And so I'm trying to, I find all the reference pictures for it, and we really try and make it so that when you are watching the Clone Wars now, that you can quickly attach it to the movies. It's very important. We just did something yesterday that I can't tell you about. That's so cool. That is a throwback right to A New Hope. And it was just like we all stood around and looked and we just went, God, that's awesome. And so it's like we try not to be different.
Very nostalgic.
Yeah, we're like brothers and sisters. Yeah.
And what inspires you when you're doing the animation and lighting and effects?
I have to say everything in the world around me. Being a photographer, when I'm not at work, I'm taking pictures. My camera's on me right now. It's with me all the time. And so everything inspires me. I could be on a walk with my daughter and see how light moves across a parked car and think, man, that really gives that car scale. It's the same thing with movies, but I always go back to any movie. And I watch movies nightly. I think I have scraped the barrel of every company that allows you to stream movies, and I always use them for reference. And prior to every episode, as Keith Kellogg, our animation supervisor, does with the animation, I do with the lighting and the effects, where I will go through not only that database I told you about, but I'll also go through movies that I love, and I put together a style guide for each episode. And I'll find pictures from the original movies, or I'll find pictures from like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, or my favorite movie, Jaws. At least every single episode, I will have something lit that is referenced from Jaws.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know you probably get this question a lot, but how is it like working with George Lucas?
I'll tell you, having been in the company for over 20 years, I've never been in direct contact with him until I started working on the Clone Wars. When I became the CG supervisor, I was thrown into my first meeting of an episode with him, and it started to click with me. The whole pinch me, I'm sitting in a room with George Lucas was that went away quickly. It went away very quickly, and then I think it was when we all went to go have lunch, and the sandwiches were brought in, we're all talking, and then he just starts talking, just about life in general, and then the meetings that went on, and so for the last like 3+ years, it's awesome. Where he's just a normal guy that loves making movies, and he's so awesome, and his ideas, like he'll do things. We'll be in a meeting and he'll make an editorial change to something, and Dave Filoni and I will be sitting with each other, and then he'll go, move this here, put this here, but take that shot out, and let's see how that plays. And it'll play, and it'll be like so much better. Than Dave will like look over at me like, it's awesome. So it really is. It's a learning experience. It is such a learning experience. I'm so honored to be in that position to actually work with him. It's very cool.